Chapter 6 of A Negro Explorer at the North Pole by Matthew A. Henson. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Chapter 6. The story of the winter at Cape Sheridan is a story unique in the experience of Arctic exploration. Usually it is the rule to hibernate as much as possible during the period of darkness, and the party is confined closely to headquarters. The Peary plan is different, and constant activity and travel were insisted on. There were very few days when all of the members of the expedition were together, after the ship had reached her destination. Hunting parties were immediately sent out, for it was on the big game of the country that the expedition depended for fresh meat. Professor Marvin commenced his scientific work, and his several stations were all remote from headquarters. And all winter long, parties were sledging provisions, equipment, etc., to Cape Columbia, 93 miles northwest, in anticipation of the journey to the Pole. Those who remained at headquarters did not find life an idle dream. There was something in the way of work going on all of the time. I was away from the ship on 2 hunting trips of about 10 days each, and while at headquarters I shaped and built over 24 sledges, besides doing lots of other work. Naturally, there were frequent storms and intense cold, and in regard to the storms of the Arctic regions of North Greenland and Grant Land, the only word I can use to describe them is terrible, in the fullest meaning it conveys. The effect of such storms of wind and snow, or rain, is abject physical terror, due to the realization of perfect helplessness. I have seen rocks 100 and 150 pounds in weight picked up by the storm and blown for distances of 90 or 100 feet to the edge of a precipice, and there, of their own momentum, go hurtling through space to fall in crashing fragments at the base. Imagine the effect of such a rainfall of death-dealing boulders on the feelings of a little group of 3 or 4 who have sought the base of the cliff for shelter. I have been there, and I have seen one of my Eskimo companions felled by a blow from a rock 84 pounds in weight, which struck him fairly between the shoulder blades, literally knocking the life out of him. I have been there, and believe me, I have been afraid. A 100-pound box of supplies taking an aerial joy ride during the progress of the storm down at Anniversary Lodge in 1894 struck Commander Peary a glancing blow which put him out of commission for over a week. These mighty winds make it possible for the herbivorous animals of this region to exist. They sweep the snow from vast stretches of land, exposing the hay and dried dwarf willows that the hare, musk oxen, and reindeer feed on. The Eskimo families who came north to Cape Sheridan with us on the Roosevelt found life much more ideal than down in their native land. It was a pleasure trip for them, with nothing to worry about, and everything provided. Some of the families lived aboard ship all through the winter, and some in the box house on shore. They were, perforce, much cleaner in their personal habits than they were wont to be in their own home country, but never for an instant does the odor or appearance of an Eskimo's habitation suggest the rose or geranium. The aroma of an East Side lunchroom is more like it. There were 39 Eskimos in the expedition, men, women, and children. For the Eskimo travels heavy and takes his women and children with him as a matter of course. The women were as useful as the men, and the small boys did the ship's chores, sledging in fresh water from the lake, etc. They were mostly in families. But there were several young, unmarried men, and the unattached, much married and divorced Miss Bill, who domiciled herself aboard the ship and did much good work with her needle. She was my seamstress, and the thick fur clothes worn on the trip to the Pole were sewn by her. The Eskimos lived as happily as in their own country, and carried on their domestic affairs with almost the same carefree irregularity as usual. The best-natured people on earth, with no bad habits of their own, but a ready ability to assimilate the vices of civilization. 20 years ago, when I first met them, not one used tobacco or craved it. Today, every member of the tribe has had experience with tobacco, craves it, and will give most everything, except his gun, to get it. Even little toddlers, 3 and 4 years old, will eat tobacco, and strange to say, it has no bad effect. They get tobacco from the Danish missionaries and from the sailors on board the whaling, seal, and walrus ships. Whiskey has not yet gotten in its demoralizing work. It is my conviction that the life of this little tribe is doomed, and that extinction is nearly due. It will be caused partly by themselves and partly by the misguided endeavors of civilized people. Every year their number diminishes. In 1894, Hugh J. Lee took the census of the tribe, and it numbered 253. In 1906, Professor Marvin found them to have dwindled to 207. At this writing, I dare say their number is still further reduced, for the latest news I have had from the Whale Sound region informs me that quite a number of deaths have occurred, and the birth rate is not high. It is sad to think of the fate of my friends who live in what was once a land of plenty, but which is, through the greed of the commercial hunter, becoming a land of frigid desolation. The seals are practically gone, and the walrus are being quickly exterminated. The reindeer and the musk oxen are going the same way, for the Esquimos themselves now hunt inland, when, up to 20 years ago, their hunting was confined to the coast and the life-giving sea. They are very human in their attributes, and in spite of the fact that their diet is practically meat only, their tempers are gentle and mild, and there is a great deal of affection among them. Except between husband and wife, they seldom quarrel, and never hold spite or animosity. Children are a valuable asset, are much loved, never scolded or punished, and are not spoiled. An Esquimo mother washes her baby the same way a cat washes her kittens. There are lots of personal habits, the description of which might scatter the reading circle, so I will desist with the bald statement that, for them, dirt and filth have no terrors. End of Chapter 6.